into campaign mode.
He's been dubbed the Venom of Australian politics. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg. Josh joins us now. G'day, Treasurer. Nice to see you this morning. Look, Labor says
Good morning, Karl.
They're ready for an economy-based election. Are you worried about them at all?
Well, our track record on the economy shows that the unemployment rate today is lower than when we came to government, that we're steering Australia through the biggest economic shock since the Great Depression, and that we are delivering lower taxes. Today, Karl, we have new economic data from the Tax Office and Treasury analysis that shows small businesses have got $5 billion worth of tax relief this year and next, and this is helping to drive more jobs, with small and medium-sized businesses creating 600,000 jobs between April of last year and September of this year. And as you know, we've also delivered significant income tax cuts, and that's important because for families at home, if you're on $60,000, you're a teacher or you're a nurse, you're $6,480 better off as a result of the tax cuts that we've passed through the Parliament. So this is significantly helping the economy, but also delivering more money into people's pockets.
At the same time, the cost of living is going up. When was the last time you had to fill up your car with petrol? Because prices are outrageous.
Did that a couple of days ago, actually, Ali, and you're right. The prices have been increasing, and there's supply and demand issues that at play here globally. What we saw over the course of last year during the pandemic is that demand for petrol, as economies around the world closed down, was obviously down, and therefore the prices came down. This year they've been going up as that demand has been rising as well. So there are broader factors at play in that petrol price market.
Right. The Prime Minister says petrol, electricity and interest rates will rise under an Albanese government. It seems to me you're doing a fair job of that yourself, aren't you?
Well, actually, electricity prices have been down by 10%, Karl, since December 2018, and that compares to electricity prices that double when Labor was last in office. And as you know, petrol prices, electricity prices, they're all part of what is called the Consumer Price Index, which is effectively the inflation number. Now, since we've come to government, we've been averaging at 1.8% a year increase in that CPI. Under Labor, it was increasing by 2.7% per year. So there are very different records on the economy. We're for lower taxes, we're for more jobs, and that's what we're delivering.
Well, what are you going to do about petrol prices then? Nothing.
Well, on petrol prices, we've got ACCC as the cop on the beat to ensure that there is competition in that market, but there are broader global supply and demand issues, and as you know, this is a bit of a spike. Last year was a big fall, and it will find its own equilibrium.
So are you okay with the cost of living expenses at the moment?
Well, of course we want to drive them down, and that's why, for example, Ali, in the budget I announced an extra $1.8 billion spending on childcare, which is going to put more money into people's pockets who have got kids in childcare. That's why we're investing heavily in the energy grid so that we can have a more stable and affordable electricity grid, and as I said, that's delivering lower prices. We also introduced some other reforms to do that. So across the board, we're seeking to drive down the cost of living and also try to create more jobs. That's our key focus: lower taxes, more jobs, and to ensure that people can have a cost of living that is affordable.
I'm not sure that the cost of living is going down. I mean, inflationary-wise, over the next couple of months, it's going to be pretty tough. I mean, in the paper today, there's even a story about a dishwasher in a restaurant getting $90 an hour. But those pressures on small businesses are going to be pretty significant moving forward. Inflationary pressures like petrol, as we've seen, $2 a litre. I mean, they're all tough expenses for families.
Well, you're absolutely right that some families are doing it tough, and we're very conscious of the impact that cost of living pressures do have on people's household budgets. With respect to trying to get down the unemployment rate, we've been pretty successful at doing that. Karl, when we came to government, unemployment was at 5.7. Today it's 5.2, and the Reserve Bank is predicting it will go into the 4s next year. I don't think we should lose sight of the fact that the economy has had a really big hit with the COVID-19 recession, but we are recovering, and the good news is that the economy's opening up, restrictions are easing, we're seeing households spend more money out in the retail shops or at the cafes and restaurants. Over the weekend I was in Melbourne in the CBD on Saturday night. The place was pumping, restaurants were full, people were moving from venue to venue, and as you know, we've got an announcement today where we are opening up the international borders to skilled migrants and also to international students, and I think that will help the economy as well.
All right, you're in Canberra, a big agenda set for the final weeks of Parliament this year, but you've got two of your own senators are threatening to abstain from voting, from supporting any legislation unless the Prime Minister opposes vaccine mandates. You've got some pretty big dramas.
We've got some pretty important legislation too, Ali, before the Parliament. One of the bills is about ensuring that our critical infrastructure is protected from cyber threats. Another is about protecting the community from high-risk terrorist offenders. These are important pieces of legislation, as well as other initiatives that I've got on the economy as well. So we'll continue to talk to our colleagues about those bills, because we want to see them legislated, and in doing so, that will enhance people's national security, but also strengthen the economy.
Yeah, but you've now got a couple of your colleagues saying we're not going to support them unless you do this. Basically, they're holding the Prime Minister to ransom.
Oh, look, you always have some of these challenges to work through. The lines of communication are open. The last 2 weeks of Parliament is never dull because it's been another testing year, I think, for everyone, and we'll continue to work through those issues, but also seek to prosecute our legislative agenda.
Just really quickly before you go, families entering Queensland face hundreds of dollars in PCR tests. The Queensland government is saying this morning maybe it should be on you. Why don't you subsidise PCR tests through Medicare?
Well, as you know, tests under Medicare are provided for, but these particular imposts, apparently, they're the Queensland government. Apparently that's their decision. So I'll leave it to them to answer as to why they would want to put those costs on families. Our provision of the test through Medicare has been supported right throughout this pandemic. We've procured the vaccine, we've paid for pathology, we've supported both the public and the private hospitals, and we've helped Australians get through this pandemic. We, the federal government, have picked up the vast bulk, Karl, of the bill in this pandemic, whether it's the direct economic support from JobKeeper to the coronavirus supplement, to the more recent business support payments, and of course the health bill. So we're doing our fair share. I'll leave it to the Queensland government to explain this latest impost from them.
Treasurer, good to talk to you on this Monday morning. Appreciate it as always. Well, now